Hey, welcome back to the channel. I'm working on the fuselage, obviously, and I pulled out some lumber here that I had cut previously, and I was just in the process of just kind of going through it. And since I had some wood that was out of the same board that had some checking in it, I was just going down the grain just to check and see what I can find. And like here, here's an example of one that's got some checking. So that's a board that I need to reject the majority of that. This is one of the interesting things about Douglas fir, is that it has an ability to splinter like this. So you have to kind of be careful when you're working with it, that it doesn't do this on you. But that's obviously not a problem there. I can work around that, cut it off back here. But the rest of the boards actually appear to be in pretty good shape as far as the checking goes. Some of them run out of spec. Like here's a good example. This end of the board, I have more than enough grains per inch. You know, I've only got 5/8 of an inch here. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 5/8. So that's gonna be fine. But then when I get to the other end of the board, in the middle here, there's a little bit of if you look at sometimes you might hear me talk about grain fall off. And what you do is you take this grain right here that's falling off the edge of the board, and you trace it all the way back here to where it originates, and it's way beyond where my finger is, and you can see we're practically 24 inches from where it started. But what you're looking for, 1 in 15 is the slope, and that means that a grain from this side of the board has to go beyond 15 inches before it's allowed to fall off of this other side of the board. So this is perfectly within spec, but when I get to this end, I'm actually running out of grains per inch. So I can only use a portion of that one. So what I'm trying to pick out are what are going to be my longerons, since I need them to be, like this one's a good example. This one stays good the whole length, as well as a couple of these others stay really nice for the whole length. And then I'm just going to flip these over and take another look at them for checking. And I'm not going to reject this whole board. I'm just going to reject the area that has those check marks. And I think what probably happens is, you know, a board might sit in, it might get heated more on one side than the other, and I think that's probably where some of those check marks come from. And yeah, so I've got this piece was left over from some work we were doing before, that was cut from some of the other pieces for the wing, and it's already 1.25 inches in this direction. It just needs to have a little bit, like a 1/16 of an inch removed, ripped off of here, so we end up with a 1.25 inches by 5/8. And then I think forward of what is the front end of well, it's basically the firewall section. You can't see all of it here, but this is basically the firewall. This is where the old 1100R leaves off, and this front end here is where the new half VW front end comes into play. So these pieces here are actually, I believe, I know they're 1.25 inches still, but they're by 3/4. And so I've got another board over here that's already 3/4 wide, and it's like 2 inches. So I'll be cutting those out of that. So I've kind of got everything organized. I know where I'm going to get my pieces from. I just need to pick the the main longerons now and see if I've got enough lumber to do both sides here. And yeah, then I'll be right back with you. All right, so what I'm up to here is I'm making these two pieces are going to form my top longeron. And so I just took my square. For this size board, it's a minimum of 6 inches for the scarf joint. You have to scarf two pieces together, and so what I did is I just kind of squared these up and made a couple marks. I went 7 inches. I figured 6 is the minimum, 7's better. So, and now that I've got those lines there, once I get the first one figured out, all I have to do I just need to figure out what my angle is here, and so I'm just going to lay my ruler in here and get this angle in. And then I wanted to show you, I got this really cool device from Rockler that actually is a really sweet taper jig, and this is going to allow me to cut really nice scarf joints. And so what you basically have here is I've already ran it through. It fits in the table saw channel, and I've already run it through, so it created a 0 line for me on this side of the board. You actually end up cutting just a small piece of that off. And so when I run this back through my saw, then I just know that all I have to do is I just have to position this where I'm going to be right on the 0 line where I want to come through there, and then move the other angle until I've got my piece right on the line here where I want it. So what I'd like to get accomplished in the amount of time that I have this evening is I just want to get one of the top longeron, if I could get that scarfed and get that in place and get epoxy on it so that it can be setting up. Number one, I can be assured that this system of scarfing this is going to work out really well, which I certainly believe that. I don't see any reason why it's not. It's a really super slick tool. So so if I can get that done, I'll feel really good about that. So that's really all I wanted to accomplish today. You know, if I had a nice longer time slot, that would be great, but I don't. So you do what you can when you can. So I think it's a good goal to get one of these top longerons scarfed and epoxied in place to dry so that we can continue on from there. All right. I ran a quick test with the other piece that's getting scarfed in. I can tell you this worked out really quite well. So, and all I have to do, I've got this set where I want it, so I don't have to change that. And I just push this where I want the line, where I want to cut this, and I'm cutting off a little bit more than I need just because I've got some flaking on the end here I don't want to deal with. So all I did was put it in and lock this down. Like so. And I just make sure everybody stays inside where the saw blade's going to run. And then I just took this and just pulled this in nice and tight, and that's just holding it against my edge here well. So everything is set, and just pull it back, get it in the slot, and feed it through. pop that loose. We have a really beautiful scarf. So, and we'll take this over the table. I'll grab the camera. So I can't tell you how happy this makes me, because what we have as a result is just an absolute perfect scarf joint, where everything fits just really well. And so that right there, that is really, really good. And so I can recreate my alignment, which appears to be the spot. I'll just make a couple marks with my pen, and then that'll allow me to easily get that alignment back when I pull them apart and when I slide them together with the epoxy. I can get those locked in, and I'll just take a couple clamps. I'll have some wax paper here, you'll see that, and I'm going to grab a couple clamps and just clamp this to here, and then we'll be able to mark and cut off where we're going to cut off there. Basically my scarf joint is going from here to here, so I'll just make a mark. And yeah, let me get some wax paper, mix up some epoxy, and let's get this one glued together. Nice. So I just wanted to show you, I cut apart one of the sections of checking just so you could see it. Hopefully, let me turn the camera so I can actually see how it looks in the camera. So that's what that checking looks like. And the other side of that was really similar. It's like it goes a couple greens deep, maybe working on number 3. And so that's why that piece had to be rejected. But I'm not, like I said, I didn't reject the whole board, just the areas with a nice wide margin. You can see the other end of this where I cut off, there is no checking. I went at least 1 inch to 1.5 inches beyond where I saw checking happening, so I feel good about that. So yeah, I am going to just gonna get some epoxy and some wax paper. I'll be back. All right, so we'll get this in behind here. Fit in behind there, good. And as always, we want to put epoxy on both surfaces. So we'll get that here. Need a different stick, I think, but. And then we'll get it on this one. All right, I got a nice even layer on both of those. And then we'll get those together. And I'll grab a few clamps. Now, one of the things we want to be careful of at any time we're doing this is we want to be careful that we're not squeezing out too much of the glue. So, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull both of these boards with a clamp. I want them to be kind of tight to the board. So now all we have to do is line these up where they go. Which should be right there. Back just a hair. So all right. That looks really good. All right, so thanks for hanging out with me. It was a little bit short, but I got accomplished exactly what I wanted to, and I am so excited about that, how well that rockler taper jig works out. It was definitely a worthwhile investment. So anyway, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more times I think I have to use that on this project. So but I think it'll be a great tool to have in my inventory anyway. And so yeah, if you're not a subscriber, I invite you to subscribe and follow along so you don't miss any of these. That little bell, you can hit that and select that you want to see every time I upload. Yeah, and you can see this whole process. So I have been working on my fuel system layout. I think I've got that nailed down now. My main concern there was that even with a diagonal line from where the fuel hose comes out of the wing down to the gascolator, which is in a level line and level flight with the carburetor, it was almost level with the ground at that point, and I wanted to make sure the gascolator was actually going to do what it's supposed to do while the plane is sitting on the ground, and that's for water to flow downhill and fall into the bottom of that thing. So, but I think I got it worked out now, and yeah, I'll catch you later.